I obtained a magical potion. Whoever drinks it will fall hopelessly in love with me. Without the slightest hesitation, I tilted my head back and drank it all. This time, I choose to love myself. I love you, old self. See you tomorrow. In my previous life, after my husband Xiao Sun cheated on me, I accidentally obtained a bottle of potion, a transparent small bottle, containing blue liquid inside. A faded inscription was pasted on the bottle. Whoever drinks this water shall be irrevocably in love with the one who gives it. As if grasping at the last straw, I recklessly bet all my hopes on this mysterious potion. I mixed the potion into Xiao Sun's coffee. The effect was immediate. He gradually distanced himself from his mistress and refocused his attention on me. He started remembering our anniversary and would bring flowers home, at night. As he held me close to fall asleep, he'd whisper those long-lost sweet nothings. It was as if we had truly returned to the days of our passionate romance. We became once again the couple everyone envied. Everyone thinks Xiao Sun loves me deeply. Only I know his love for me isn't his own choice. It comes from my choice. It was I who made him drink the potion that made him fall in love with me. Whenever he embraces me and kisses me, I can't help but recall those inappropriate intimate photos of him. Whenever he whispers tenderly to me, I find myself wondering whether he said the same sweet words to someone else before. Worst of all, fear follows me like a shadow. Every time he talks to other women for work, whenever his phone screen lights up, whenever his former ambiguous lover appears, my heart immediately sounds the alarm. Has the medication worn off? Is he about to leave again? I became neurotic, so much so that I felt unfamiliar even to myself. Sensitive, suspicious, easily startled. Xiao Sun's brief moment of distraction. A slightly ordinary reply. Each of these could drive me into a frenzy of speculation about his love for me. Later, I became pregnant. Joy lasted only for an instant, followed immediately by overwhelming fear. What if one day, the drug's effect truly fades away? What will I do if Xiao Sun turns back into the man who despises me? What should my child do now? Running my hand over my still flat belly, I realized for the first time I was living inside a beautiful but fragile cage I had woven myself. I started losing my hair in clumps. Chronic anxiety tightly wrapped around me, nibbling away at my nerves bit by bit. Even if Xiao Sun comforts me, I cannot naturally immerse myself in the warmth he offers. The essence of love is the surrender of free will. It is the conscious surrender after two free souls meet. And I have already poisoned this possibility. And Xiao Sun casually said, "Honey, your eyes seem to have a few more fine lines lately." Such a light-hearted remark could instantly break me down. I couldn't focus, kept making mistakes at work, feeling like a string about to snap. Eventually, after enduring prolonged emotional turmoil, the child I had never met left me. Xiao Sun held me tightly, whispering comforting words. But at that moment, what surged into my heart was not gratitude, but regret. I regret it. I regret how, back then, I begged like a beggar, using every trick to hold on to someone whose heart had already turned away. So this time, when the familiar blue potion appeared before me once again, I didn't hesitate at all. Twist off the cap, tilt your head back, and pour it all down your throat. The liquid is slightly bitter, sliding down your throat. Rather than exhaust yourself trying to hold on to a cheating man, love yourself instead. I love you. See you tomorrow. After drinking the magical potion, I stood still for a moment, feeling the changes in my body. Doesn't seem any different. Recalling the effect this potion had on Xiao Sun in my previous life, I have no doubt about its authenticity. Perhaps, some changes are never visible to the naked eye. Just then, a sudden rumbling sound came from my stomach. Right, since I came back to life, I haven't eaten anything yet. Stepping out of the bedroom, a full table of delicious dishes came into view under the warm glow of the living room lights. I froze for a moment, then remembered. The time I returned coincides exactly with the 6th anniversary of my marriage to Xiao Sun. What did I do on this day in my previous life? I dressed up carefully and rushed to Xiao Sun's company. In front of everyone, I begged him to come home for dinner that evening. When I left his office, the looks I received from those around me were full of mockery and pity. But back then, I was overjoyed because Xiao Sun had agreed, leaving no room in my heart for anyone else. After returning, I cooked a whole table full of dishes. All of them were Xiao Sun's favorites: sour cabbage fish, braised beef with potatoes, steamed sea bass, stir-fried seasonal vegetables, steamed seafood with garlic and vermicelli. I spared no effort, trying to win Xiao Sun's heart through my cooking. Looking at the array of dishes on the table, I even felt a flicker of pride, fantasizing about the admiration or emotion I'd see in his eyes when he walked through the door, and the result. I sat on the cold chair all night. Xiao Sun spent a romantic evening with his lover, which became his gift to me for our 6th anniversary. The long breakdown that night finally made me use that potion, because I could no longer bear the loneliness of waiting. Now that I think about it, what was I lonely for? Don't I still have my old self? Now, looking at the same set of dishes, the feeling is entirely different. No expectations, no anxiety, just the purest need remains. I'm hungry. I took out a bottle of aged red wine from the wine cabinet. It was purchased earlier from a private winery. The red wine was poured into a crystal glass, its deep crimson liquid shimmering under the light. I took a sip, and the rich fruity aroma unfolded in my mouth. After finishing, I couldn't help but let out 2 satisfied, tisk-tisk sounds. This is really good wine, old friend. I truly haven't treated you unfairly. My gaze returns to the full table of dishes. I can't help but frown. Steamed, boiled without sauce, low salt, low oil. Where is the dish I love to eat? In order to accommodate Xiao Sun's taste, I, a native of Sichuan and Chongqing, haven't even managed to cook one proper spicy dish. I suddenly slapped my thigh. That's right. Now, who's going to accommodate him? It's already past 8 in the evening, and suddenly I'm full of energy. I reheat the sour cabbage fish, pour on sizzling chili oil and a generous amount of Sichuan peppercorns. I reseason the steamed seafood, sprinkling it generously with minced garlic and bright red chopped chili. Feeling unsatisfied, I also prepared a plate of my favorite spicy chicken, a table full of vibrant, fiery dishes. The spiciness filled the entire kitchen. I poured myself another glass of red wine and sat back down at the table. The fish slices, drenched in spicy oil, were so thrilling they made me want to stomp my feet. Another shrimp, coated in garlic chili sauce. Its salty, fresh, spicy flavor shot straight to the top of my head. Spicy chicken, crispy, fragrant, and numbing, paired with a sip of wine. It was utterly exhilarating. This feeling, absolutely exhilarating, as I was enjoying my meal heartily, sweat beading on my forehead from the spiciness. My phone, lying nearby, suddenly lit up, displaying a new message. She's Xiao Sun's assistant. She's also one of Xiao Sun's lovers he's been cheating on his wife with. Sister, you haven't checked my moments yet, have you? I picked up a piece of spicy chicken with my chopsticks, slowly chewed it, and casually opened her moments. The latest update, posted 10 minutes ago. In the photo, 2 hands are intertwined, with my favorite high-end restaurant as the backdrop. The ambiguous atmosphere is obvious. I immediately recognized Xiao Sun's hands. After all, I've countless times placed my own hands on them for comparison, slender fingers with distinct knuckles. There was still a faint trace of a wedding ring. I gave it a neutral thumbs up. Soon, this post vanished. Immediately afterward, a new post popped up. Oh no, my boyfriend found out I casually posted something on my social media just now. He said I have to stay awake tonight as punishment. So shy ing. I put down my phone. Indeed, there was a slight stabbing pain in my chest. My originally hearty appetite was somewhat affected. Of course, not because of that couple, it was for myself. I put down my chopsticks and began a serious reflection into the air. Oldie, you've worked so hard cooking a whole table full of dishes exactly to your taste, and now you're not even going to eat them just because of some random social media post. Are you even being fair to yourself after all that effort? To this fine bottle of wine, to your own stomach. Hurry up and eat. Look at you. So thin, you're barely standing. Your weight's almost dropped by 40 kilograms, right now. Xiao Sun is probably wrapped in the arms of his little lover, whispering sweet nothings, and here you are, mourning spring and grieving over food like this. Oldie, you can't treat yourself like this. Okay. After finishing my self-education, I took a deep breath, suppressing the bitterness in my chest. I picked up a large piece of fish meat and put it in my mouth, chewing hard. So delicious. That's more like it, old me. Having eaten almost enough, the phone on the table vibrated again. It's a call from my mother. As soon as I pressed the answer button, I hadn't even had a chance to speak yet. A barrage of angry shouts came flying at him. Pan, so what if Xiao Sun cheated? Are you going to die if you just turn a blind eye? Which capable man doesn't play around outside, no matter what method you use? Crying, begging, or pretending not to know. Don't you dare let go of Xiao Sun, this golden bachelor. Do you hear me? If you keep causing trouble like this, he'll really divorce you. What are you going to do then? He's a big boss now, a successful entrepreneur. Just hold on to your status as his wife. Do you really not have your head on straight, obsessing over possessing him entirely? Xiao Sun is so outstanding. Of course he has a few lovers. Just stay calm as his wife. Enjoy your blessings. And why bother yourself with all this? I clutched the phone, my fingertips numb with cold. A sense of absurdity choking me in the chest. Probably what I did recently somehow reached my parents' ears. Actually, I didn't do anything particularly wrong. As far as I'm concerned, compared to what Xiao Sun did to me, this is nothing. It was nothing more than smashing the car he bought for his mistress the day I found out about his affair. Nothing more than storming into his company and smashing his office in front of his employees. Or perhaps finding out he brought his mistress to a charity gala under the guise of philanthropy. I followed him wearing my most eye-catching red dress, and in front of everyone, I slapped him and the woman beside him with a loud crack. I thought I'd humiliate him, make him feel utterly ashamed, that he would finally understand betrayal comes at a price. But I was wrong. In his world, in his circle, infidelity was an unspoken privilege. No one blamed him. They merely looked at me with pity or mockery, then patted Xiao Sun's shoulder and advised him, just leave her. Marrying a madwoman, why bother? I don't want a divorce. Thus, my madness became his excuse to cheat even more recklessly. He started staying out all night, deliberately leaving traces of other women to provoke me. Since he couldn't control me, he exaggerated everything and told my parents. He knew exactly their weaknesses and beliefs, using them to suppress me, discipline me, and force me to face reality. So when the phone rang again with another admonition, my long-suppressed anger and bitterness finally erupted. I snapped into the microphone. What do you mean it's normal to have several lovers? He cheated, he betrayed his marriage, and now he's justified. You know nothing. The voice on the other end suddenly rose sharply. You worthless girl. Getting together with a man like Xiao Sun is the luck of 8 lifetimes. Don't you dare be ungrateful. I'm telling you, if you dare cause trouble with him again, if you dare bring up divorce or any more grievances, we'll pretend we never had a daughter, your father and I will treat you as if you were dead. Such bad luck. Why can't we just live in peace? Why must you keep making trouble? With that, they hung up the phone. I trembled as I placed the phone back on the table. My body couldn't stop trembling. My chest felt as if crushed under a massive stone, heavy and suffocating, making it impossible to breathe. A lifetime. In my previous life, I listened, chose to endure in silence. In this life, I originally thought rebirth was liberation, a fresh start. Yet the knife from my closest loved one still pierces the same old wound with exact precision, even deeper. The grievances of 2 lifetimes, the loneliness of being misunderstood, the bitter accusations from those I cherished most. All emotions surged to the surface, clogging the throat. Everyone says Xiao Sun is young and accomplished. Men, especially wealthy ones, having a few women around is quite normal. But who remembers, at first, when he started his business, he faced failure everywhere, and the funding line was on the verge of breaking. It was me who silently placed all my savings, money I'd carefully saved over several years of working, right in front of him. I comforted him, saying, if we lose it all, we lose it all. I can earn again. Back then, we lived in a cramped rental apartment, eating instant noodles, yet he held my hand tightly, his eyes brighter than stars, promising me he'd never let me down for the rest of his life. I held my wine glass and walked barefoot toward the floor-to-ceiling window. Outside, the city's night view shimmered with dazzling lights, brilliant as a river of stars. Xiao Sun's lover's taunting post on social media didn't sadden me, but my parents' constant, for your own good, felt like a dull knife slowly cutting into my heart. My eyes suddenly burned fiercely. I tilted my head back and blinked hard, trying to force the heat back. I raised my glass and drank it all in one go. After the spiciness came a long, lingering bitterness followed by a sweet aftertaste. So I misjudged someone. What of it? Admitting I didn't have good judgment back then isn't that hard. It's okay. In my previous life, I was delusional, tying all my worth to a man. I lost myself and ended up utterly defeated. As long as I never make the same foolish mistakes again in this life, that would be enough. Old me, I whispered softly to the bustling traffic outside the window, my voice hoarse, each word spoken slowly and deliberately. I allow you to get hurt in love. I allow you to give your heart and soul, only to realize you've loved the wrong person. I allow you to feel hurt and want to cry because your loved ones don't understand. I allow you to cry, to break down, to be overwhelmed with sadness and vulnerability in this very moment. After saying that, I tightly hugged my knees, like finally freeing myself from all chains. I burst into tears without restraint. The cries echoed through the empty living room, hoarse, unpleasant, yet utterly real. I didn't know how long I had been crying, until I was utterly exhausted, left only with quiet sobs. I lifted my head, my face a mess of tears, my voice thick with a nasal tone. Cry if you must, it's not a big deal, I wouldn't dislike you anyway, yeah, right, old buddy. Outside the window, the city's lights still shimmered brilliantly. Just as I was about to be swallowed by sorrow, the phone rang. I shuddered all over, as if waking from a deep dream. I staggered toward the table and fumbled to grab the phone. The screen's light stung my swollen, red eyes. I didn't want anyone to hear how upset I was, so I forcefully sniffed and roughly wiped my tears with my sleeve. Then grabbed the water glass on the table and took a big gulp. After clearing my throat, I finally pressed the answer button. Hello, Pan, came my friend's voice on the other end. Did you hear? The forecast says there might be an aurora in Mo soon. It's a rare chance. Want to go check it out? If we could snap a great series of aurora photos, that would be amazing. Aurora, as a photographer. Chasing and capturing the breathtaking beauty between heaven and earth is not only a professional instinct but also a mission. On one hand, to prove my photographic ability, on the other, to record the fleeting moments of beauty. In my previous life, I missed the aurora, and many other beautiful sights, because I was determined to hold on to my relationship with Xiao Sun. Thinking of this, my heart tightened. Alright, I almost blurted out, my voice high and urgent, I'm going. I'll book my flight right now. After hanging up the phone, I immediately got to work, booking tickets, confirming the itinerary, done in one smooth flow. Then, I rushed back to my room and started stuffing my thick coat, thermalwear, camera, and tripod into the suitcase as fast as I could. The whole process was so quick that my tears couldn't keep up, until a hot tear dropped onto my hand. I hurriedly tidied up while sniffling, speaking to myself in a voice thick with nasal tone. Old me, look. I missed it in my last life. I can't miss it this time, can I? It might be tough these days, rushing to travel, freezing cold, but old me, let's pull ourselves together and capture the most beautiful aurora. When we do, I'll buy you that bag you've always wanted. How about that? As I enthusiastically planned for the future, I was simultaneously a mess, wiping away tears. I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror, eyes puffy and hair disheveled. Yet her hands never stopped stuffing down jackets and camera batteries into the box. Looking like this, really, a bit funny, yet a bit heartbreaking, but I know I'm moving forward, even if I'm walking while crying. After 5 in the morning, before the sky has lightened, I'm already on the plane. Outside the cabin is a deep, dark night. The cabin lights were dim, and most people were taking a nap. I, however, felt wide awake, gazing blankly out the window. Around 8 o'clock. The plane landed in Heilongjiang. A crisp, dry breeze rushed toward me. Stepping out of the airport, my friend and I shared a steaming bowl of local specialty noodles, warming me from the inside out. My friend couldn't hold back and said, I thought you wouldn't come with me this time. After all, when I invited you before, you always said you had to stay home watching your husband, just in case some other woman tried to flirt with him. I swallowed the last sip of noodle soup and let out a satisfied sigh, speaking calmly. A man is nothing compared to my career. My friend stared at me wide-eyed, scrutinizing me from head to toe as if I'd just uttered something utterly unbelievable. That coming from you, I just can't believe it. Did you get possessed or something? I just pulled at the corner of my mouth, saying nothing, because even I couldn't believe how naturally those words had slipped out of my mouth. I instinctively reached for my phone and unlocked it. The screen lit up, showing the chat interface with Xiao Sun still stuck on the message I sent yesterday afternoon. Honey, you must come back for our 6th wedding anniversary. I've prepared a surprise and made your favorite dishes. Scrolling up, a dense cluster of green bubbles appeared. Almost all were one-sided. My questions, my updates, my waiting. In contrast, his reply was brief and perfunctory. I turned off the screen and shoved the phone back into my pocket. Forget it. Why waste a single thought on someone who doesn't belong to me? After finishing our meal, my friend and I boarded the Greenskin train heading to Mo. For a full 17 hours, I leaned against the window, watching the endless, flowing snowfields outside, the monotonous sound of the rails and the ever-receding snowscapes. My tense nerves gradually relaxed, and I began to feel drowsy when the train arrived at the station. It was deep in the night. Stepping off the train, the biting cold made us shiver uncontrollably. The land was completely covered by thick snow. We dragged our luggage and checked into a hotel we had already arranged, slept straight through until the afternoon. My friend and I set off for Beji village. I wore my thickest down jacket, wrapped a scarf around my neck, and pulled my hat down tight. I felt like a clumsy bear, yet still couldn't fend off the bone-chilling cold. Cold air rushes into my lungs, causing sharp stabs of pain. My knees press against the warming pad, yet still emit faint creaking sounds when walking. I'm traveling with a young couple I met on the train. The girl is lively and always laughing, while the boy is calm and thoughtful. Neither of them stops talking throughout the journey. I heard making a wish under the aurora is especially effective. The girl leaned on her boyfriend's arm, her eyes sparkling. Yeah, the boy looked down at her, replying tenderly, "If only we could see the aurora, we'd be happy forever." They huddled together, their breaths intertwining in white clouds in the air. Her face was full of anticipation and sweetness. That smile was pure and dazzling, like two small warm flames flickering in this vast icy wilderness. I watched them, my heart filled with neither envy nor bitterness, only a gentle, heartfelt joy. It's so good. There should be someone in this world who is truly happy like this, and I am here for myself. I have friends, I have my old self. That's pretty good too. We arrived at the observation point in Beji village, where the snow reached just above our ankles. The sky was already pitch black, yet the snowy field was bustling with people. Most of them were like us, carrying cameras, determined to get a great shot. Minutes passed one by one, approaching midnight. But the long-awaited light screens still did not appear. Only a blizzard arrived. The heavy snow stung people's cheeks, and visibility grew increasingly blurred. Many could no longer endure it, cursing under their breath as they packed up their equipment and turned to leave. The crowd gradually thinned out. My friend and I didn't move, clinging tightly to each other, stubbornly facing the blizzard, gazing up at the ink-black sky. Deep down, I still hoped for a miracle. The couple who had come together were tightly embracing each other amidst the raging snowstorm. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse, and my heart stirred. Almost instinctively, I raised the camera and adjusted the settings. Through the swirling snow, I focused on them. Click, the shutter clicked softly, capturing this fleeting moment of mutual warmth amidst the storm. They noticed my lens, their faces red from the cold, yet they beam with radiant smiles, even playfully giving me a V sign. At the very instant their smiles shine brightest, fingers forming the gesture. Above them, the dark sky is suddenly torn apart by an invisible hand. 1, 2, the fiery red aurora thus appeared against the dark night sky. Unlike the cool, ethereal green auroras I had seen online before, this one was intense, rich, and brimming with vitality. Red, like a phoenix spreading its wings, displaying the brilliance after rebirth. It's red aurora. The couple shouted with joy, leaping and dancing in the snow. The boy, excited, reached into his pocket, pulled out a small velvet box, and knelt on the snowy ground. He wanted to open the box and take out the diamond ring inside, but his fingers were already frozen stiff, and with thick fingerless gloves on, he fumbled clumsily, pulling at them several times without success. Looking at each other's awkward attempts, they exchanged glances and suddenly burst into laughter. Their laughter pierced through the wind and snow, filled with pure joy and affection. I couldn't help but laugh, though my eyes suddenly grew slightly warm, looking up at the dazzling aurora before me, so beautiful it took my breath away. The red ribbon of light shifted across the sky like a waterfall cascading down. I quickly adjusted the camera and snapped a few shots of this rare and breathtaking sight. Then, I put the camera down. For the rest of the time, I chose to simply experience it with my naked eyes. So beautiful. Suddenly remembered a long time ago, when Xiao Sun and I were squeezed together in a rented apartment eating instant noodles, pointing at a picture of the aurora in a magazine and saying, "When we're rich someday, we must go see it together." Back then, I thought this was a dream that could only be fulfilled by two people. Now, I stand here, witnessing a more magnificent red aurora than the one in the magazine. A voice in my heart softly whispers to myself, "Oldie, do you like it? You must really enjoy such a view, right? Let's Look at more of them together in the future, okay? The aurora didn't last long. About 10 minutes later, the brilliant red began to fade and dissipate. As if a brief yet dazzling dream, my friend leaned over to look at the photos on my camera and couldn't help but exclaim, "Wow, Chi-Pan. You really are the most skilled at capturing fleeting moments and the most talented at composition I've ever seen." Her eyes sparkled. With such talent, it would be a real waste not to go and capture the magnificent landscapes of our motherland. I looked at the red aurora frozen in the camera's frame, smiled, and spoke calmly yet firmly, "Not a waste. One day, I'll be taking photos of them often. Whenever there's a beautiful view somewhere in the future, remember to call me." My friend was stunned. After a long moment, she firmly patted my shoulder, her eyes reddening. "That's really wonderful. You finally don't have to keep running around after that man of yours." I returned to the hotel, and my frozen body at last felt warmth. At that moment, my phone, always without signal, vibrated repeatedly. I took off my heavy coat and curled up under the warm blanket, opening WeChat. Xiao Sun unexpectedly sent me a string of messages. "Chi-Pan, why aren't you at home? Why is there only leftover food at home? What on earth have you been doing all day?" Not replying. "Want a divorce?" Seeing I still didn't respond, he sent several more messages in a row. Not replying. "Do you think this childish tactic will catch my attention? If you don't want to cook, fine. There are plenty of people who will. Look much better than what you make, right?" Attached below is a photo. I opened it. In the photo, Xiao Sun is grinning at the camera, smiling especially brightly. Behind him, a slender silhouette wearing an apron is busy at the kitchen counter. Even without seeing his face directly, I'd still recognize him. It's his assistant. I stared at the photo, and a most immediate judgment spontaneously arose in my heart. Xiao Sun is so greasy. His expression looked like leftover grease from the previous night, smeared across the screen. I felt dizzy from the grease. Thinking of this, a sudden pang of guilt welled up in my heart. "Sorry, old G. You must be so disappointed not getting to talk about that 8-pack hunk." Thinking this, I replied, "Okay, I'll file for divorce as soon as I get back." The message was sent, but Xiao Sun didn't reply right away. At this moment, he's probably enjoying himself in a cozy embrace. I didn't wait any longer. I set my phone to silent and laid it face down on the nightstand. Nothing beats a beauty sleep. The next day, he slept until noon. He opened his phone and sent several messages in a row. "Divorce. You finally agreed to divorce. What do you mean, waiting for you to come back? I'm already home. Where are you? Where have you been? Chi-Pan, were you out all night? Answer the phone. Chi-Pan, are you dead?" I swiped the screen expressionlessly, too lazy to respond. I started packing my luggage, preparing to head back. The plane landed, and I sent Xiao Sun a message. "Where are you?" He replied almost instantly. "Company." I didn't reply anymore. I immediately hailed a taxi and rushed back to my former home at top speed. "Open the wardrobe and start packing your luggage." I had already asked a friend in advance to help me rent a one-bedroom apartment. I'm planning to finalize the divorce agreement this afternoon. Just move the things into the new house. This progress is so rapid it even exceeds my imagination. In my previous life, I exhausted every ounce of my strength and endured endless humiliations, yet still couldn't break free from those shackles. In this life, I've managed, within just a few days, to dismantle, strip away, and prepare to leave them behind, cleanly and decisively. I couldn't help but reflect, "Old one, so you're actually this talented, huh?" Since I found out about Xiao Sun's infidelity, I've entered his company countless times. Each time, accompanied by hysterical arguments, I've smashed glass, torn up documents, and destroyed walls here, like a madman out of control. Throughout the entire company, probably no one doesn't know that Secretary Zhao's wife is a disgraceful, madwoman without a shred of dignity. Now, as I step into the company, eyes from all directions converge on me, curious, disdainful, waiting to see the spectacle. The elevator doors opened. I stepped in, and a few employees who had been waiting for the elevator followed me. Low murmurs began to rise in the confined space. "She's back again. Guess which window she'll smash this time, TCH. The construction crew handling the company's renovation must be making a fortune off her. Huh? Quiet down. The real show's about to begin." Laughter enveloped me in the enclosed space. I didn't lose my composure like I used to. Instead, I let out a soft laugh amidst the slight sensation of weightlessness as the elevator rose smoothly. I calmly turned around, scanning their faces with composure. I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed. I'm not here today to break anything. Come here to discuss divorce with your boss. I paused, enunciating each word slowly. With you, ding. The moment the words finished echoing, the elevator arrived at the intended floor. I stepped out and strode confidently down the corridor. I pushed open the office door. What met my eyes was a pair of people in an intimate pose. Lin Yu sat sideways on Xiao Sun's lap. Seeing me, her cheeks turned red, and she suddenly stood up in alarm. Pan sister, you two chat, I'll go out first. Her words were incoherent, her head lowered. No need. My voice was surprisingly calm. You sit down. It's no trouble. My gaze passed over her and landed on Xiao Sun's face. He was remarkably composed. I pulled a document from my bag and gently placed it on the table. The agreement you had your lawyer send me earlier. I've reviewed it. I met his slightly mocking gaze. Xiao Sun, since you're the one at fault, you can't just offer 1 million. I paused, then stated my terms. I want 30 million, nod your head, and we'll meet at the Civil Affairs office tomorrow morning at 9. Xiao Sun laughed as if he'd just heard a joke. He tightened his arm, pulling Lin Yu back into his embrace as she tried to pull away. Pan, I've worked hard to earn my money. Giving you 10 million is out of respect for our past relationship, and it's to give you dignity. You dare ask for 30 million. Have I been too lenient with you these past few years? Making you forget your own worth, so greedy. I stared into his eyes. Those eyes I once adored the most now held nothing but calculation and coldness. Suddenly I remembered the early days of his startup, how I put down my beloved photography, accompanying him day and night to visit clients and inspect factories, smiling through countless meetings, drinking until I nearly bled from my stomach. I remember waiting for 4 hours straight under the building of his partner's company just to negotiate a deal for him. I gave all my dowry and savings to support his venture. It wasn't until the past couple of years, when he finally got on his feet, that I gradually began to resume my photography career. Finally, I ended up being labeled as greedy. He had long forgotten, or perhaps he never thought it worth remembering, but I didn't argue. Digging up old grievances serves no purpose other than making you look like a bitter woman. I gave a self-deprecating laugh, pulled over a guest chair, and sat down across from him, relaxed and at ease. It's fine, Xiao Sun, I've got all the time in the world. And, I narrowed my eyes, I've got plenty of intimate photos of you, Lin Yu, and others saved on my phone, high definition, clear-faced ones, you know. If I occasionally post something online, maybe a little personal essay here and there, don't you think today's internet users would absolutely love this kind of aristocratic drama? Maybe I could even become a celebrity influencer and gain tons of followers. Xiao Sun's smile vanished. The air in the office instantly froze. After a long silence, he suddenly let out a cold laugh, leaning back into the leather chair with an indifferent air. Go ahead, post it. I've got plenty of money to pull down trending topics, delete posts, and send cease and desist letters. If it comes to it, we won't even bother divorcing. Honestly, I think things are fine the way they are, each doing our own thing, and that's not so bad. He was testing my limits, betting that I wouldn't dare to destroy everything completely. I met his gaze and ultimately gave in. In truth, I didn't want to keep dragging this out with him. 20 million, take it or leave it. A brief silence. After weighing the pros and cons, Xiao Sun nodded. Mission accomplished. I picked up my bag and turned toward the door. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, Civil Affairs office, don't be late. Stepping out of the company building, the afternoon sun was a bit blinding, yet I felt exceptionally light, as if the air itself carried a crisp, free sensation. I didn't waste any time and immediately contacted a moving company. Looking at my little nest filled with luggage, joy welled up naturally. Tomorrow, I'll be free. I met up with a friend, got a trendy new hairstyle, and went shopping for a few new outfits. I bought the bag I'd promised myself as a reward. I'm determined to meet that brand new version of myself with a fresh look. The next day, I put on makeup carefully and appeared at the Civil Affairs office entrance right on time. Xiao Sun leaned against the car door. The moment he saw me, his gaze visibly paused. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes, and something indescribable. Perhaps even admiration. He walked over, trying to sound casual, yet still laced with his usual condescending tone. Pan, you actually look quite presentable when you dress up. You'd be even better if you wore a white dress. I couldn't help rolling my eyes. Who cares about your opinion anyway? He was speechless, his face instantly turning dark. I turned away from him and walked through the door of the Civil Affairs Bureau. The staff member picked up the seal, and I looked at it with eager anticipation. Suddenly, my long hair was violently grabbed from behind, a searing pain shot through my scalp. The person was pulling with tremendous force. My entire body, along with the chair, was violently yanked down. My head slammed against the cold tile floor with a dull thud. My vision went black, and my ears rang, struggling to open my eyes. I saw my parents' faces twisted in furious rage, before I could even open my mouth. My father's hands clamped onto my arms like iron vices, brutally yanking me to my feet from the ground. My mother stood by, shouting abuse at me. Divorce? You dare to divorce? You worthless piece of trash. Do you have any idea how hard it was to marry you off? How dare you even bring up divorce? You really think you can get away with this? Got some backbone now, huh? Sneaking off behind our backs to file papers. You're really going to rebel against us, damn girl. Wait till I get you back home. I'll break your legs. My father's strength was astonishing. No matter how hard I struggled, I couldn't move, and was half dragged, half pulled down the steps. But when my mother looked at Xiao Sun, her expression instantly changed, her face instantly turning into a fawning smile. Xiao, I'm so sorry, really sorry. My daughter's been acting crazy lately, talking nonsense. Don't worry, we'll take her back and discipline her properly. She won't dare bother you again. This marriage won't be broken, absolutely not. As she spoke, she hurried to catch up with her father. Together, they forcibly shoved me into the back seat of the car parked by the roadside. Bang, the car door slammed shut and locked. I struggled and rushed to the car window, desperately pounding on the glass. The Civil Affairs office rapidly receded and shrank in my view. Finally, it disappeared completely. Almost, I was so close, just a tiny bit more. How dare they treat me like this? My parents dragged me home, half carrying, half pulling me. The door had barely closed when insults started flying. My younger brother was lounging on the sofa, legs crossed, casually cracking sunflower seeds, adopting an attitude like he was watching a show. Did a donkey kick your brain? How dare you bring up divorce with Xiao Sun? Are you still chasing love at your age? My father's temple veins bulged, and spittle nearly sprayed onto my face. Love. Love is nothing. Can it be eaten as food or spent as money? Xiao Sun is a golden bachelor. Someone else would dream of marrying him, yet you're pushing him away. I rubbed my sore back of the head, where a lump seemed to be forming. Looking up, I saw my parents' distorted faces. My voice was hoarse and weak. Money, is it more important than me? Mom burst out laughing, spitting in my direction and looking at me with utter disdain. What are you even worth? Without Xiao Sun, you're nothing. I stared wide-eyed, my blood seeming to freeze solid. The disdain and contempt in their eyes pierced my heart like needles. Seeing that I remained silent, they thought I had given in and escalated their teaching. Men are men. What's the harm in a little flirtation outside? As a wife, your duty is to stay home and take care of him, and quickly give him a son to keep him tied down. He comes home, you should be grateful and serve him well. That's your fortune. Xiao Sun wants you. That's your blessing. Don't be ungrateful. Blessing, gratitude, the fury suppressed within me for 2 lifetimes finally broke through all reason. Why should I? I suddenly stood up, using all my strength to knock over the coffee table in front of me. The glass cups, fruit tray, and ashtray crashed to the ground in a jumble, scattered everywhere, with sunflower seeds flying in all directions. In the stunned gaze of my family, I turned and rushed into the kitchen. Grabbing the meat cleaver and clutching it tightly in my hand, turning back, I stared at them, eyes locked, unblinking. How interesting. He cheated, and you're defending him. Then go live with him yourself. We're all human. Why should I grovel and fawn over him? What does Xiao Sun even amount to? They were stunned by the knife in my hand, momentarily speechless. Of course you'd just go after me, wouldn't you? I raised my voice, venting years of pent-up bitterness and anger. You think I'm worthless without a man, that I can't survive without one, don't you? I bent down to pick up the mop, knife in one hand, mop in the other. My gaze swept across the living room. The 70-inch LCD TV was bought with the prize money from my first photography award, and that massive double-door refrigerator was purchased with savings from weekend photography gigs. Every piece of furniture and appliance in this house, from the largest to the smallest, was bought by me. This house. What in it hasn't been bought by me? I swung the mop and smashed it into the expensive TV. Crash. clatter, the screen shattered instantly. You don't actually believe all this is just a gift from Xiaosun, do you? Clang, I slammed the fridge door again, leaving a deep dent, using my things, spending my money, and still daring to look down on me. I shouted and smashed everything in my path, leaving chaos in my wake. My father turned pale with rage, furious and shouting, grabbing a broomstick from the corner to hit me, but he froze in his tracks when confronted by the gleaming kitchen knife in my hand. My mother wailed and screamed at me, calling me a grateful dog, crazy, and a sinner. My younger brother, terrified of being hit by accident, ran back to his own room. This chaotic and desperate farce ultimately ended with the arrival of the police, probably the neighbors, fed up with the disturbance, had called them at the police station. My parents scolded me fiercely and demanded the police arrest me. I immediately showed the police my phone's purchase records. Comrade police officer, I can provide all purchase records and payment receipts for the damaged items here. They are all my personal property. What's wrong with me handling my own belongings? The facts are clear, and the property rights are well defined. After understanding the situation, the police could not impose any penalty on my actions regarding my own property. Seeing their scheming fail, my parents trembled with rage, pointing at me and shouting, "Ungrateful daughter, we've raised you in vain. Get out. We'll pretend we never gave birth to you." I looked at them coldly, brushing the dust off my clothes. Okay, then so be it. Just as you wish. From now on, I'll consider myself an orphan. You should never have given birth to me. After saying that, I walked out of the police station and hailed a taxi, no longer looking back at them. Once inside, I collapsed into the seat, utterly exhausted. My parents favored boys over girls, with only my younger brother in their hearts and minds. I'd known that for a long time. There was once still a silly, laughable fantasy lingering. Now, the mask has been torn off. Good, finally, I can say a complete goodbye to that thing called home. I leaned against the car window, whispering softly to the battered yet incredibly resilient version of myself within, "Old me, you're really so brave." At that moment, my phone rang. It's a friend calling, Pan Pan. Her voice was light and lively, full of energy. "Want to go hiking tonight? Let's see the city's night view, then watch the sunrise tomorrow morning." The sunlight during sunrise this season is absolutely stunning, perfect for taking great photos. Sure, without a second thought, I agreed. I need a passionate, all-out pursuit, need to stand high up and gaze into the distance. Hanging up the phone, I glanced at the time on my phone. Civil Affairs Bureau, still not closed yet. A strong impulse seized me. "Master," I straightened up. "Let's not go to the previous address. Please turn around. Now. Divorce is still possible." I pushed open Xiaosun's office door and blurted out, "Let's get a divorce." He saw me and clearly froze for a moment. Then a mocking smile appeared on his face. "Still going for a divorce? Did you forget how embarrassing you were this morning?" I walked up to his desk, placed my hands on the edge, and looked down at him. "Don't think I don't know you deliberately told them." Xiaosun's eyes flickered slightly, clearing his throat awkwardly and avoiding my gaze. "Divorce is a big matter, of course. Elders' approval is necessary. Besides, Chi Pan, why must we go this far? Isn't things fine as they are now? We can each live our own lives, without interfering with one another. If you want to, you can also find someone outside." "Xiaosun," I cut in, my voice low but icy, "I don't have time or interest in playing these games with you. Listen carefully." I leaned forward slightly, enunciating each word. "Today, this divorce must go through. If you try to delay it with any excuse, or pull any tricks, I'll send the intimate photos of you with Lin Yu, as well as those with other people, to every employee's email in the company, cleaners to executives, no one left out. I don't care about the consequences. At worst, it's a privacy violation, and I'll pay the damages. I can afford it, but have you thought about it? When everyone in the company, including your partners and competitors, are gawking at the scandalous gossip about you, Xiao, what will become of your reputation, your company's stock price, and the image you've painstakingly built?" Xiaosun's face turned dark, his eyes locked onto me with a fierce glare. After a long silence, he spoke through gritted teeth. "Chi Pan, you really disgust me. I never thought you could sink so low. Break up then. Let's do it now." "Perfect. That's exactly what I want." This time, there was no resistance at all. After obtaining the red booklet, my vision instantly blurred. Hot liquid surged from my eyes, splashing heavily onto the certificate. Seeing this, Xiao Sun laughed nearby. What's wrong, regretting it already? If you want to back out now, just tear up the certificate, and I can still, no. I wiped away my tears forcefully and shook my head. I'm happy. I clutched the divorce certificate tightly, as if it were a precious treasure. I'm finally free. How wonderful, old self. We've finally left behind all the people and things that caused us pain. That morning, I shouldered my heavy photography gear, met up with my friend, and began the night climb. The mountain path was rugged, and my breath turned into white mist in the cold air. At dawn, I captured a series of majestic sunrise photos. The first ray of morning light tore through the clouds, as if heralding the beginning of my new life. I posted what I considered to be the most satisfactory photo on social media. Unexpectedly, this photo went viral. Netizens were moved by the vitality breaking free from darkness and liked and shared it. I seized the opportunity, posted the series of red auroras I had captured earlier in Mo, which looked like a phoenix rising from the ashes. My account went viral overnight. At 30, I finally made a small name for myself in the photography industry. This wasn't just recognition of my technical skills. It felt more like a long overdue echo of fate. Capitalizing on this momentum, I opened a photography studio. On the very first day of opening, an unexpected guest arrived. She was Miss Su, a well-known local wealthy merchant's daughter. With a gentle demeanor, she wanted me to take her wedding photos. I was overjoyed. If I could shoot well, with Miss Su's connections and influence, our studio's future clientele would hardly be a concern, so I poured all my passion into it, researching materials and devising a shooting plan that perfectly matched her personality. I spent an entire night preparing just the script and scene concepts, striving for perfection, yet on the third day, Miss Su unexpectedly showed up at my door. She looked apologetic. Miss Chi, I'm sorry, I might not be able to have my wedding photos taken by you. The deposit I paid earlier can just be considered my breach of contract fee. No need to return it. I was stunned for a moment, my heart sinking sharply. Yet I still maintained a professional demeanor, asking softly, Miss Su, would you mind telling me the reason? Was there something unsatisfactory with the proposal I provided earlier? She looked hesitant, pausing for a while before finally being honest. I mentioned you to my fiancé. He said he'd heard of you. Your ex-husband, Xiao Sun, is quite well known in their circle, and some of your past stories, they're also aware of. She paused, her tone tinged with reluctant sympathy. My fiancé said that your reaction to your ex-husband's infidelity, though intense, might be understandable, but the problem is, you yourself have experienced a failed marriage. He's worried, someone whose own marriage wasn't happy might struggle to truly understand or capture the happiness within a relationship, making it impossible for you to shoot the kind of sweet, heartfelt moments we're looking for. I listened in silence, my fingers curling slightly beneath the table, then slowly unclenching. I see, even after divorce, that past still follows me like a shadow. I didn't immediately defend myself or complain. I simply took a deep breath, raised my head, and looked at her with calm and sincere eyes. Miss Su, thank you for your honesty. I understand your fiancé's concerns as well, but I'd like to clarify one point. As a photographer, I've never documented the abstract concept of a happy marriage. What I capture are happy people, the genuine, touching emotions that lovers express in a fleeting moment. I admit my own marriage was a failure. But in my life, I've experienced countless moments of happiness, and through my lens, I've witnessed and captured countless others' moments of joy. My marital unhappiness is entirely unrelated to my ability to recognize happiness or capture emotions, two completely different things. I looked into her eyes and continued, I believe you chose to enter marriage not because you foresaw a future of happiness. On the contrary, it was because you're truly feeling happiness right now that you made this decision. Isn't that right? Happiness is the cause, marriage is the result. My misfortune was merely the result of my past relationship, but when I decided to get married, the hopes and joy I felt were no different from what you're feeling now. Of course, I softened my tone, showing her full respect. You have every right to choose a photographer who makes both you and your fiancé feel comfortable and at ease. No matter what your final decision is, I fully respect it. After hearing this, Miss Su fell silent for a moment, and the hesitation in her eyes seemed to ease slightly. After a long pause, she gave a gentle nod. Miss Chi, I understand what you're saying. I'll think about it some more. After seeing Miss Su off, my friend, who had been holding her breath the whole time, slumped her shoulders and sighed. Ah, the duck was already cooked, yet it still flew away. The prejudices in this circle are truly hard to break. I turned around, patted her shoulder, and smiled instead. It's fine, life has a high margin for error. If this path doesn't work out, we'll just try another. Even if we have to close this studio, I can still become a landscape photographer. Traveling the world, even freer, not a big problem. Just then, my phone screen lit up, displaying a new message. It was from the couple I'd met under the aurora in Mo last time. Sister, I saw your WeChat moments. Congratulations on the opening of your studio. The photos we took in Mo last time are so amazing. We've already had them developed and hung up in our wedding room. We're recently preparing for our wedding. We'd like to consult you about wedding photos. Do you happen to have any availability? My friend and I exchanged a glance. And the next second, we excitedly hugged each other and jumped up and down right where we stood. Great, look, after a winding path with mountains and rivers, doubt arises, no way forward. Then suddenly, willows darken and flowers brighten, and a village appears. Miss Sue ultimately did not choose me as her wedding photographer, but fortunately, the couple I met in Mo firmly chose me. My carefully shot wedding photos of them were joyfully shared by them on social media, those natural, sincere, and story-rich photos brought my studio unexpected attention. My career is gradually getting on the right track and thriving, and I myself am full of energy, because this time, I am fighting for my own career, for myself. Later, I accepted a live interview. The host asked me, Miss Chi, many people know that your ex-husband, Mr. Xiao Sun, is very famous in the business world. Online, there are also some videos and photos from your past, rather emotional moments. Do you mind talking about this rather famous chapter of your life? Looking straight into the camera, my smile remained unchanged. Of course not, it's a part of my life. The host then asked a rather sharp question. So, how did you finally make up your mind to leave your ex-husband and turn to a career in photography? This transition must have been extremely difficult, right? I pondered slightly, my tone calm. I think it's because I've finally come to understand. Eyes are meant to gaze upon the stars and the vast sea, the changing seasons, the warmth of human life, not to obsess over whether someone has replied to a message. Photography, in a sense, is an effort to capture and preserve the genuine beauty that our eyes can see. So, I've decided to look away from one person and redirect my gaze toward the boundless world. At that moment, a striking pop-up message suddenly floated across the screen, with obvious malice, establishing an independent, strong female lead in real life. Yet back then she was still ready to die for a man, just something to watch, nothing more. The host's expression shifted slightly. I looked at the comment, and suddenly burst out laughing. This comment is quite interesting. I turned toward the camera, my expression calm and unbothered, with no trace of offense. Actually, I think those past experiences, some of which might have been, not exactly dignified, or even downright embarrassing, have genuinely shaped who I am today. The host couldn't help but press further. Don't you ever feel angry when someone comments like that on your past pain? No, I shook my head, my gaze resolute. The one who did those things back then was myself, the one who poured all their passion and dignity into someone unworthy, driven by blind love, was also myself. I don't feel any need to deny or hide it, even if someone mocked me directly about it. I wouldn't get angry. I paused, each word clear and forceful, because I unconditionally accept every action I've taken and every step I've walked. The good, the bad, the glorious, the shameful, all of it together has formed the person sitting here now. At that moment, a pop-up message shot across the screen. Sister, you're so amazing. I love you. You're my hero from my teenage years. I looked at those words and couldn't help but smile, speaking gently yet seriously. Thank you. I love myself, too, but, little girl, your heroism is you. You and yourself are the true partners in this journey. The live stream room fell silent for a moment, then filled with sincere applause. The interview over, I walked out of the radio station building. As I stepped down the stairs, a figure emerged from the shadow beside me, blocking my path. It was Xiao Sun. He seemed to have been deliberately waiting for me here. I didn't stop my steps, intending to walk past, but he stepped aside and blocked my way again. Chi Pan, he said, his voice slightly hoarse. I'm sorry, I've kept thinking about it, and I still feel I owe you a proper apology. I stopped walking and looked up at him. Suddenly I found it somewhat laughable. Apology, Xiao Sun, put away your cheap remorse. Your "I'm sorry" means nothing to me anymore. I looked at the flicker of shock in his eyes and continued calmly. The one you've wronged the most isn't me, right now. It's the you from 10 years ago, living in that rented apartment. You betrayed the promises you once made, and you betrayed the version of yourself that hadn't yet been tainted by fame and fortune. So, keep your apology for him. After saying that, I no longer looked at the complicated expression on his face. I walked around him and headed toward the car parked by the roadside. The night wind brushed against my cheek, bringing a refreshing feeling. After this, there would be no more connection between me and Xiao Sun. I saw him again in the financial section of a social news report. The headline read, "Renowned entrepreneur Xiao Sun suspected of tax evasion, handed over to procuratorial organs for legal investigation by tax authorities." The accompanying photo showed him being taken away by law enforcement officers. His head was lowered, no longer showing the confident, spirited look he once had. The report also mentioned that the whistleblower was none other than his former lover and assistant. They had a falling out over unequal profit distribution. His company thus plunged into chaos. When I saw this news alert, I was in the studio sorting through client photos. My finger paused on the screen for 2 seconds. Then I burst out laughing. How wonderful. Heaven's justice truly turns full circle. I put down my phone, opened the shopping app, and happily began picking out gifts for myself. Should treat myself to a nice bag, get myself a pair of professional hiking shoes, for taking photos in the snowy mountains next time, stock up on 2 bottles of top-tier anti-aging face cream for me, buy me a camera, let me treat you to hot pot again. As for my parents, they went to great lengths for their useless son, begging people left and right, exhausting themselves emotionally, even selling off their entire family assets. They tried to reach me through phone calls and text messages, but I had already blocked them. Later, they took me to court, demanding I pay maintenance fees. The verdict came down. I was required to pay 400 yuan per month. I am a law-abiding citizen, strictly adhering to the court's ruling, paying exactly 100 yuan each month, neither more nor less. But whether it's paid at the beginning of the month, in the middle, or on the very last day of the month, that entirely depends on my mood for the month. Later on, my photography career became increasingly busy, with appointments already booked out 6 months in advance, but I still insist on setting aside some time each year for travel and photography. My lens has captured the solitary smoke and setting sun over the deserts of northwest China, and recorded the hazy rains of the water towns in the Jiangnan region, with my own perspective. I photographed this vast and magnificent landscape I deeply love. Alright, the story has come this far. One last sentence, repeated once more, love you.